Exodus chapter 24. And he said to Moses, Come up to Yahweh, you and Aaron, Nadab and Abihu, and 70 of the elders of Israel, and worship you from afar. And Moses alone shall come near Yahweh, but they shall not come near, neither shall the people go up with him. And Moses came and told the people all the words of Yahweh, and all the judgments, and all the people answered with one voice, and said, All the words which Yahweh has said, we will do. And Moses wrote all the words of Yahweh, and rose up early in the morning, and built an altar under the hill, and 12 pillars, according to the 12 tribes of Israel. And he sent young men of the children of Israel, which offered burnt offerings and sacrificed peace offerings of oxen to Yahweh. And Moses took half of the blood, put it in basins, and half of the blood he sprinkled on the altar. And he took the book of the covenant, and read it in the audience of the people. And they said, All that Yahweh has said will we do, and be obedient. And Moses took the blood, and sprinkled it upon the people, and said, Behold the blood of the covenant, which Yahweh has made with you concerning all these words. Then went up Moses and Aaron, Nadab and Abihu, and 70 of the elders of Israel. And they saw the Elohim of Israel, and there was under his feet, as it were, a paved work of a sapphire stone, and as it were the body of heaven in his clearness. And upon the nobles of the children of Israel he did not lay his hand. Also they saw Elohim, and did eat and drink. And Yahweh said to Moses, Come up to me to the mount, and be there, and I will give you tables of stone, and a law, and commandments of which I have written, that you may teach them. And Moses rose up, and his minister Joshua, and Moses went up into the mount of Yahweh. And he said to the elders, Stay here for us, until we come again to you. And behold, Aaron and Hur are with you. If any man have any matters to do, let him come to them. And Moses went up into the mount, and a cloud covered the mount. And the splendor of Yahweh abode upon Mount Sinai, and the cloud covered it 6 days. And the 7th day he called to Moses out of the midst of the cloud, and the sight of the splendor of Yahweh was like devouring fire on the top of the mount in the eyes of the children of Israel. And Moses went into the midst of the cloud, and got him up into the mount. And Moses was in the mount 40 days and 40 nights. End of chapter.
Ecclesiastes chapter 7. A good name is better than precious ointment, and the day of death is better than the day of one's birth. It is better to go to the house of mourning than it is to go to the house of feasting, for that is the end of all men, and the living will lay it to his heart. Sorrow is better than laughter, for by the sadness of the countenance the heart is made better. The heart of the wise is in the house of mourning, but the heart of fools is in the house of joy and rejoicing. It is better to hear the rebuke of the wise than it is for a man to hear the song of fools. For as the crackling of thorns under a pot, so is the laughter of the fool, and this is also vanity. Surely oppression makes a wise man mad, and a gift destroys the heart. Better is the end of a thing than the beginning of it, and the patient in spirit is better than the proud in spirit. Do not be hasty in your spirit to be angry, because anger rests in the bosom of fools. Do not say, What is the cause that the former days were better than these? Because you do not inquire wisely concerning this. Wisdom is good with an inheritance, and by it there is profit to those that see the sun. Because wisdom is a defense, and money is a defense. But the excellency of knowledge is that wisdom gives life to those who have it. Consider the work of our Elohim, For who can make that straight which he has made crooked? In the day of prosperity be joyful, but in the day of adversity consider. Our Elohim has also set the one over against the other, to the end that man should find nothing after him. All things have I seen in the days of my vanity. There is a just man that perishes in his righteousness, and there is a wicked man that prolongs his life in his wickedness. Do not be overly righteous, neither make yourself overly wise. Why should you destroy yourself? Do not be overly wicked, neither be foolish. Why should you die before your time? It is good that you should take hold of this. Yes, also from this do not withdraw your hand, for he who fears our Elohim will come forth out of them all. Wisdom strengthens the wise more than 10 mighty who are in the city. For there's not a just man upon the earth that does good and does not sin. Also, take no heed to all the words that are spoken, lest you hear your servant curse you. For oftentimes also your own heart knows that you yourself likewise have cursed others. All this I have proved by wisdom. And I said, I will be wise. But it was far from me. That which is far off and exceedingly deep, who can find it out? I applied my heart to know, and to search, and to seek out wisdom, and the reason of things, and to know the wickedness of folly, even the wickedness of foolishness and madness. And I find more bitter than death the woman, whose heart is snares and nets, and her hands like bands. Whoso pleases our Elohim will escape from her, but the sinner will be taken by her. Understand, I have found this out, says the preacher, counting one by one to find out the account, which yet my soul seeks, but I find not. One man among 1,000 have I found, but a woman among all those have I not found. And yet, look, this only have I found, that our Elohim has made man upright, but they have sought out many inventions. End of chapter.
Oh,
Matthew chapter 5. And seeing the multitudes, he went up into a mountain, and when he was set, his disciples came to him. And he opened his mouth and taught them, saying, Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed they that mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed they which do hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they shall be filled. Blessed the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see Elohim. Blessed the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of Yahweh. Blessed they which are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are you, when men shall revile you and persecute you, and shall say all manner of evil against you falsely for my sake. Rejoice and be exceeding glad, for great is your reward in heaven. For so persecuted they the prophets which were before you. You are the salt of the earth. But if the salt should lose its flavor, wherewith shall it be salted? It is thenceforth good for nothing, but to be cast out and to be trodden under the foot of men. You are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hid. Neither do men light a candle and put it under a bushel, but on a candlestick, and it gives light unto all that are in the house. Let your light so shine before men, that they may see your good works and honor your Father which is in heaven. And think not that I am come to destroy the law or the prophets. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill. For truly I say to you, till heaven and earth pass, one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law till all be fulfilled. Whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments, and shall teach men so, he shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven. But whosoever shall do and teach, the same shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven. For I say to you, that except your righteousness shall exceed the righteousness of the scribes and Pharisees, you shall in no case enter into the kingdom of heaven. You have heard that it was said by them of old time, You shall not kill, and whosoever shall kill shall be in danger of the judgment. But I say to you, that whosoever is angry with his brother without a cause shall be in danger of the judgment. And whosoever shall say to his brother, Raka, shall be in danger of the council. But whosoever shall say, You fool, shall be in danger of the Gehenna of fire. Therefore, if you bring your gift to the altar, and there remember that your brother has aught against you, leave there your gift before the altar, and go your way. First, be reconciled to your brother, and then come and offer your gift. Agree with your adversary quickly, while you are on the way with him, lest at any time the adversary deliver you to the judge, and the judge deliver you to the officer, and you be cast into prison. Truly I say to you, you shall by no means come out of there until you have paid the uttermost farthing. You have heard that it was said by them of old time, You shall not commit adultery. But I say to you, that whosoever looks upon a woman to lust after her has committed adultery with her already in his heart. And if your right eye offends you, pluck it out, and cast it from you, for it is profitable for you that one of your members should perish, and not that your whole body should be cast into Gehenna. And if your right hand offends you, cut it off, and cast it from you, for it is profitable for you that one of your members should perish, and not that your whole body should be cast into Gehenna. It has been said, Whosoever shall put away his wife, let him give her a writing of divorcement. But I say unto you, that whosoever shall put away his wife, except for the cause of fornication, causes her to commit adultery. And whosoever shall marry her that is put away commits adultery. Again, you have heard that it has been said by them of old time, You shall not forswear thyself, but shall perform unto Yahweh your oaths. But I say to you, Swear not at all, neither by heaven, for it is Elohim's throne, nor by the earth, for it is his footstool, neither by Jerusalem, for it is the city of the great king. Neither shall you swear by your head, because you cannot make one hair black or white. But let your communication be yes, yes, No, no. For whatever soever is more than these comes of evil. You have heard it that it has been said, an eye for an eye, and a tooth for a tooth. But I say unto you, that you resist not evil. But whosoever shall smite you on your right cheek, turn to him the other also. And if any man will sue you at the law, and take away your coat, let him have your cloak also. And whosoever shall compel you to go a mile, go with him too. Give to him that asks of you, and from him that would borrow of you turn not you away. You have heard that it has been said, you shall love your neighbor, and hate your enemy. But I say unto you, love your enemies, bless them that curse you, do good to them that hate you, and pray for them which despitefully use you, and persecute you, so that you may be the children of your Father which is in heaven. For he makes his sun to rise on the evil and on the good, and sends rain on the just and on the unjust. For if you love them which love you, what reward do you have? Do not even the publicans do the same? And if you salute your brethren only, what more do you do than others do? Do not even the publicans do the same? Be you therefore perfect, even as your Father, which is in heaven, is perfect. End of chapter. John chapter 4. When therefore the Master knew how the Pharisees had heard that Yeshua made and baptized more disciples than John, though Yeshua himself did not baptize, but his disciples, he left Judea and departed again to Galilee, and he must needs go through Samaria. Then comes he to a city of Samaria, which is called Sychar, near to the parcel of ground that Jacob gave to his son Joseph. Now Jacob's well was there. Yeshua therefore, being wearied with his journey, sat there against the well, and it was about the 6th hour. And there comes a woman of Samaria to draw water. Yeshua says to her, Give me to drink. For his disciples were gone away into the city to buy food. Then says the woman of Samaria to him, How is it that you, being a Jew, ask to drink of me, which am a woman of Samaria? For the Jews have no dealings with the Samaritans. And Yeshua answered and said to her, If you knew the gift of Yahweh, and who it is that says to you, Give me to drink, you would have asked of him, and he would have given you living water. And the woman said to him, Sir, you have nothing to draw with, and the well is deep. From where then have you that which you can draw living water? Are you greater than our father Jacob, which gave us the well, and drank thereof himself, and his children, and his cattle? Yeshua answered and said to her, Whosoever drinks of this water shall thirst again. But whosoever drinks of the water that I give him shall never thirst. But the water that I shall give him shall be in him a well of water springing up into everlasting life. The woman said to him, Sir, give me this water, so that I do not thirst, neither come here to draw. Yeshua said to her, Go, call your husband and come here. The woman answered and said, I have no husband. Yeshua said to her, You have well said, I have no husband. For you have had 5 husbands, and he whom you now have is not your husband. In that you do say truly. The woman said to him, Sir, I perceive you are a prophet. Our fathers worshipped in this mountain, and you say that in Jerusalem is the place where men ought to worship. Yeshua said to her, Woman, believe me, the hour comes when you shall neither in this mountain, nor yet at Jerusalem worship the Father. You worship you do not know what. We know what we worship, for salvation is of the Jews. But the hour comes, and now is, when the true worshippers shall worship the Father in spirit and in truth, for the Father seeks such to worship him. Yahweh is a spirit, and they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth. The woman said to him, I know that the Anointed is coming, which is called the Messiah. When he is come, he will tell us all things. Yeshua said to her, I that speak to you am he. And upon this came his disciples, and marveled that he talked with the woman. Yet no man said, What do you seek? Or why are you talking with her? The woman left her water pot there, and went her way into the city, and said to the men, Come, see a man, which told me all the things that ever I did. Is not this the Messiah? Then they went out of the city, and came to him. In the meanwhile, his disciples begged of him, saying, Rabbi, eat. But he said to them, I have food to eat that you do not know of. Therefore said the disciples one to another, Has anyone brought him anything to eat? Yeshua said to them, My food is to do the will of him that sent me, and to finish his work. Do you not say, There are yet 4 months, and then comes harvest? Behold, I say to you, lift up your eyes, and look on the fields, for they are white already to harvest. And he that reaps receives wages, and gathers fruit to life everlasting, that both he that sows and he that reaps may rejoice together. And herein is that saying true, one sows and another reaps. I sent you to reap that whereupon you bestowed no labor. Other men labored, and you are entered into their labors. And many of the Samaritans of that city believed on him for the sayings of the woman, which testified, He told me all that ever I did. So when the Samaritans were come to him, they besought him that he would tarry with them, and he abode there 2 days. And many more believed because of his own word, and said to the woman, Now we believe, not because of your saying, for we have heard him ourselves, and know that this is indeed the Messiah, the Savior of the world. Now after 2 days he departed from there, and went to Galilee. For Yeshua himself testified that a prophet has no honor in his own country. Then when he was come to Galilee, the Galileans received him, having seen all the things that he did at Jerusalem at the feast, for they also went to the feast. So Yeshua came again to Cana of Galilee, where he made the water wine. And there was a certain nobleman whose son was sick at Capernaum. When he heard that Yeshua was come out of Judea to Galilee, he went to him and besought him that he would come down and heal his son, for he was at the point of death. Then said Yeshua to him, Except you see signs and wonders, you will not believe. The nobleman said to him, Sir, come down, lest my child die. Yeshua said to him, Go your way, your son lives. And the man believed the word that Yeshua had spoken to him, and he went his way. And he was now going down. His servants met him and told him, saying, Your son lives. Then inquired he of them the hour when he began to amend. And they said to him, Yesterday, at the 7th hour, the fever left him. So the father knew that it was at the same hour in the which Yeshua said to him, Your son lives. And himself believed, and his whole house. This is again the second miracle that Yeshua did when he was come out of Judea to Galilee. End of chapter. The Book of James, Chapter 1. Jacob, a servant of Yahweh and of the Master Yeshua the Messiah, to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad, greeting. My brethren, count it all joy when you fall into diverse temptations, knowing that the trying of your faith works patience. But let patience have her perfect work, that you may be perfect and entire, wanting nothing. If any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of Yahweh, that gives to all liberally, and upbraids not, and it shall be given him. But let him ask in faith, nothing wavering, for he that wavers is like a wave of the sea, driven with the wind and tossed. For let not that man think that he shall receive anything of the sovereign. A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. Let the brother of low degree rejoice in that he is exalted, but the rich in that he is made low, because as the flower of the grass he shall pass away. For the sun is no sooner risen with a burning heat, but it withers the grass, and the flower thereof falls, and the grace of the fashion of it perishes. So also shall the rich man fade away in his ways. Blessed is the man that endures temptation, for when he is tried, he shall receive the crown of life, which Yahweh has promised to them that love him. Let no man say when he is tempted, I am tempted of Yahweh. For Yahweh cannot be tempted with evil, neither does he tempt any man. But every man is tempted when he is drawn away of his own lust and enticed. Then when lust has conceived, it brings forth sin, and sin, when it is finished, brings forth death. Do not err, my beloved brothers. Every good gift and every perfect gift is from above, and comes down from the Father of lights, with whom is no variableness, neither shadow of turning. Of his own will begat he us with the word of truth, that we should be a kind of first fruits of his creatures. Wherefore, my beloved brethren, let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to wrath. For the wrath of man works not the righteousness of Yahweh. Wherefore, put away all filthiness and abundance of evil, and receive with meekness the engrafted word, which is able to save your souls. But be doers of the word, and not hearers only, deceiving your own selves. For if any be a hearer of the word, and not a doer, he's like unto a man beholding his natural face in a glass. For he sees himself, and goes his way, and straightway forgets what manner of man he was. But whoso looks into the perfect law of liberty, and continues, he being not a forgetful hearer, but a doer of the work, this man shall be blessed in his deed. If any man among you seem to be religious, and bridle not his tongue, but deceives his own heart, this man's religion is vain. Pure religion, and undefiled before Yahweh and the Father, is this, to visit the fatherless and widows in their affliction, to keep himself unspotted from the world. End of chapter.